our colleague Ritu Singh caught up with Dinesh Khara, the chairman of SBI, and spoke to him on what he makes of the recent RBI policy and the outlook for the bank going forward. She began by asking him on the outlook for net interest margins.
I think hopefully we should be in a position to maintain NIMs at the current level, because that's my broad assessment is, of course, we have to deliberate in our ALCO, but my broad assessment is that we should be in a position to maintain the NIMs at the current level.
Mr. Khara, on the LCR framework, which the governor mentioned in the policy, they've proposed some modifications to the liquidity coverage ratio framework to facilitate some better management of liquidity risk by banks. What did you make of it? What could have prompted this, and what are your expectations from this draft circular that will come up?
Actually, what used to happen because of the payment systems efficiency and RTGS, NEFT, etc., made available 24/7, 365. So the system was required to keep the excess liquidity because there were, RTGS, NEFT can hit at any point of time. At any point of time during the weekdays and as well as on the weekend also. So just to ensure that no bank is left out with some debit balance, all banks were required to keep some excess liquidity, which was, my assessment is that it was as high as to the extent of about 50,000 crore. So now, virtue of the readjustment arrangement possible 24/7, and that is something the banks should be in a position to monitor it on a real-time basis, and which will actually unlock that excess liquidity which was required to be kept. So I think it will ensure even better and more efficient liquidity management.
The governor in the policy said that the prospects of investment activity are looking bright. And he listed whether it is private capex cycle, government capital expenditure, healthy balance sheets, or capacity utilization improving. It looks good from a macro point of view. Give us a sense of what you're seeing on the ground as the largest banker. Is the corporate investment cycle picking up, and what's in the pipeline for SBI?
We do see the investment cycle picking up, and pipeline, of course, I have not taken stock in the recent past, but yes, of course, the last number which I recall, it was very strong at about 5 trillion and odd, 4.5 to 5 trillion odd. So I think that is, and I think it would have only, we would have disbursed some, and we would have got some new proposals also. So I actually get to see very positive responses from the corporates. They are evaluating all possible investment opportunities, and they are committing on ground also. So this, I would say that, which we have been seeing for quite some time. People used to debate, discuss, and now I think it is in the last leg where people have started investing, because there was enough cash in the balance sheets of the corporate. So as far as their equity contribution is concerned, it was very visible. So now they have started approaching for the leverage, and also they have started availing also. So which actually augurs very well.
What would that translate to? I mean, last year, for instance, you had guided us for FY24 that you would have a credit growth of 14 to 16%. What does the coming year look like on the back of this pickup in corporate activity that you just told us about, and what you're aspiring to, and what the industry could also see?
I think we would have, I'm sure the results are sometime away for us. But as far as the last year's guidance was concerned, we have, my sense is that we would be beating those estimates. And based upon this and the kind of a positive environment which we are seeing now, my expectation is that the year 24-25, we should even get to see even better numbers. And I invariably say that, the real growth rate plus another 2 to 3 basis points is something which we expect to grow. So my sense is that we should be having a GDP growth of about almost around 8% in the year 24-25. Inflation being at about 4.5. So say about 12.5 plus about. So around 15% plus is something which I expect. But I always say that I believe in under-promising and over-delivering.
Well, and we've seen that happen, Mr. Khara. But, let me quickly touch upon the retail loan side as well, because, again, the RBI governor and the policy seem to indicate that rural demand is also catching up. Urban consumption is buoyant. What are the trends that you're seeing shaping there, and what would retail loan growth for SBI look like in FY25?
I think it would be more in sync with the last quarter, or maybe it will be even better than the last quarter. But yes, of course, the trends are more like what we have seen in the last quarters.
Okay. Any number you could guide us to, what sort of contribution you're expecting from?
It will not be in order for me at this point of time to give you any kind of a number.
Okay.
But maybe we are declaring our results on 9th of May. We'll talk about that on.
Yes, we'll have more questions for you then. But, on the deposit side, from the initial numbers that banks have already released for the fourth quarter, the deposit momentum seems to be picking back up a little bit. CASA ratios have also improved sequentially for several banks. In the current liquidity environment, what are you seeing? What's your sense?
See, it is not merely the growth, but one should look at the cost at which the growth is happening. So, growth is possible, but at what price? And while in the banking system, we have to be very mindful in terms of the cost also. The cost also and the yield on the book. So it's not merely the growth, but the quality of that growth number is very important.
Right, interesting conversation coming in from the management of SBI, speaking about deposit growth and loan growth going forward as well, not just the quantum of growth, but the quality of growth, which is extremely important. No taking away from the markets. Now the Nifty Bank seems to have picked up some pace, up around 111 points. The Sensex has hit a record high, the Nifty at a fresh record high as well. So the Nifty Bank at the high point. Good time to get in some trading strategies. Ruchi Jain of 5paisa.com will join in after this short break.